a far interesting opportunity or a far faster route to get brands into a country like India. Another case which it builds is that I don't know how many of you are aware the brands which cater to the lower half of the country, which is where the per capita GDP is pretty low. The average selling prices are very, very low. So there is a brand in India called Yepme. It's spelled as YEPMEE. They offer shoes at £3, and a good shoe is at £5. So it doesn't cross £5 in that respect. Because so there are two clear opportunities for brands which are, let's say, in the range of 15 to 20, 30 pounds. There, largely the market is the large metro cities, which is Delhi, Mumbai, and the premier tier 1 population in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. That audience is anyway scattered, and online, what people are doing is that if you set up a store, to choose a location becomes a very critical thing because the population is very small, which would potentially come down to that store. And people are using online as a route to cater to the population all across the country. So if you have a brand which caters to, in the price range of 20 to 30 pounds, I think the best way is online retail, because your population is scattered and you can reach out to them all across. But if you're looking to create a brand on your strength of manufacturing or your strength of getting the prices down, then I think you need to be playing in the game of 3 to 10 pounds as a market, and that's where a lot of other new brands are getting created. Another trend, I'm on slide 6, and I'd like you to appreciate the gravity of this change which is happening in India. It says that the mobile shopping is picking up in a very large way. I'm an ex-eBayite. I used to lead eBay business in India. One of the data which they shared with me a month back is that every month, 1 percentage point of their traffic is shifting toward mobility. Every month. So last month, if they had 16% of the traffic coming from mobile phones, the next month is 17, the next month is 18, and it's that big. I'd like to give you a context of how India has developed in this space. India has 500 million mobile phones. 500 million mobile phones, of which close to around 14–15% are in the smartphone category at this moment. One of the big developments which we are waiting is the biggest platform which runs in India is Android, on the mobility side of it, and it's because of the affordability issues, because Android is open source and it's cheaper in that respect. This opportunity has been identified by Google, and they're coming up with a platform which is so light. Android new release after KitKat is going to be so light that it can run on a 3,000 rupee phone. A 3,000 rupee is a 30-pound phone in that respect. And once that happens, we are expecting that there could be a big revolution in e-commerce which can come straight away through mobility. You should check out a few applications which Indian entrepreneurs have done. I don't know how many of you know of a company called Flipkart. They're like a very large e-commerce player. They're the biggest. They're bigger than eBay, Amazon, everybody in the country. You should check out their mobility app. It's better than potentially browsing on the web. We as a company did a very interesting thing last year, and this will also give you an interesting context of how things are very different in the country, but how technology is being used to bridge that. Have you heard of the biggest retailer in the FMCG space in the country is a company called Big Bazaar? So Big Bazaar currently reaches to around 40% of the country. The rest of the 60% they've not even reached. They only cater to the top 40% of the country. So they decided that it's going to take them next 15 years if they kept on going. And by the way, they have a Guinness Book of World Record for the fastest opening of stores. After setting up a Guinness record, they still reach 40% of the country. And they are getting a big threat from a company like Flipkart. So they have decided that they're going to now go ahead and empower mom and pop stores. So we did an application where we created a tablet, and the tablet is given to a mom and pop store, and they become a franchise of Big Bazaar. So the entire Big Bazaar sits on that entire tablet, and they can order from them. So very, very interesting leapfrogging happening in that respect. Another data I wanted to give you on mobility in the country is, I said 500 million phones, and India only has 100 million landlines. So it will give you an interesting context that the whole country is jumping the whole last wave, so it's not waiting. And that's where my understanding is that I think the country will not wait for an organized retail revolution. It will straight away jump to something new. I don't know whether it's going to be e-commerce or something, but I don't think so it's going to be the pure way it has happened in the West. I'm on slide 7. I think Deep also referred to it in his presentation. Here's a very interesting slide as to how payments are distributed in this country. What you will see is that 60% of the payments are by a payment method called COD, which is cash on delivery. There is interesting data in India. The credit card penetration in the country is going down. The debit card penetration in the country is increasing, but the credit card penetration in the country is going down. Traditionally, Indians have a very, very bad perception about credit. They think that they'll spend more if they have a credit card at their hand. And it's been discussed globally that e-retail companies are struggling because of COD, which is true, because the cost of collecting cash also gets added to the cost of delivering to the customer. But I personally think it's a phenomenal innovation. With 70% of the sales coming through cash on delivery, the amount of expansion which has happened in the market is just amazing. I'll give you another interesting data. The biggest electronics retailer in India is a company called Chroma Retail, which is owned by Tatas. This year, the amount of electronic sales which happen on Flipkart is higher than that. So Flipkart already is the biggest electronics retailer in the country. So one interesting sign, and that's the biggest category per se. Coming back to fashion, there are two large players, a few of you would know. One is a company called Myntra, another is a company called Jabong. Jabong is owned by the Rocket Internet Media Group, which has come there. If you put both of their sales together, they are the biggest multi-brand fashion outlet in the country, already in the organized sector. And the biggest player is Shoppers Stop. So if you put both of their turnover together, they're bigger than Shoppers Stop. And if you only take Myntra, they are 60% of Shoppers Stop sales. And their Myntra is only existing for the last 3.5, 4 years, and Shoppers Stop is in business for 30 years. So there's something very, very interesting which is happening in this space in the country, because I think the consumer is saying that I don't care, I want what I want. The retailer is not able to reach out to him due to infrastructural issues, and technology is finding answers in that respect. So if you look at the whole split, I'll tell you another innovation which has only happened in India. So they felt that COD was a very dangerous thing because you collect cash, and sometimes cash transactions could be dangerous in whatever possible way quoted. So India has come out with an innovation called card on delivery. So the guy who goes to deliver the product carries a machine with him, and they swipe the card at home through a Wi-Fi network, and it's linked to the tablet or whichever way. And those technologies are so cheaply priced in the country that it's far more effective to do that. So another thing which has happened in the country is that people have started using EMI in a very large way, the monthly installments, because the per capita GDP is not at a higher level. So people are linking their credit card monthly installments to their credit cards or to their banks straight away. And that has led to a huge growth in the market. The slide number 8, I think it was covered by Dee, but I only want to add one more point. If you will see that the tier 1 and the tier 2 cities in the country have a huge infrastructural gap. So if you go to a Mumbai or a Delhi or a Bangalore, you will see that the infrastructure or the availability is very much as equivalent to a Western world. But as soon as you go to the tier 2 and I don't know how many of you have traveled to a tier 3 cities. The infrastructure in terms of every quality just takes a big beating. What internet retail has done is that today 65% of the sales of total internet retail in the country is coming from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So what it proves is that the aspiration levels are not different. It's just the access which has left people behind. And I'll tell you why it is happening. And I think it's also due to internet that this has happened. People didn't knew what is good fashion. People just didn't know what is good fashion. And internet has allowed them to see, and I think I was talking to Robert and I said, like brands like ASOS, you can just keep on watching their videos only because it's a great education on how to dress up. So I don't think so. Aspiration is an issue. Education is a very, very large issue. People just don't know that what is good dressing, why do I require to have 3 coats, why do I require to have 6 pair of shoes? They're just not aware. And I can actually give you an interesting example to what Deep was saying. He said that the whole deodorant category in the country exploded. How big is it, Deep? The whole deodorant category? In revenue size?
It's about 600 crores.
Total deodorant market. Okay, so I'll tell you, the deodorant as a category in the country is not more than 15 years old. So people used to use telecom powders, and then they shifted to deodorants 15 years back. But if you compare the fashion industry and you compare the deodorant industry, the amount of category creation which a deodorant industry did, and what the benefits which have come back to the people who have been selling those deodorant brands has been tremendous. I personally feel the Indian market, the amount of awareness which needs to be created for fashion has not been done. So we were discussing before the panel, and we realized that as you move from north down, the fashion awareness goes down the same way. It actually goes down the drain. It's that different in that respect. And because northern part of the country is more linked across to the west in that respect, and it has clearly affected that way. So I personally feel if brands going from here can invest some period of time in creating awareness and education about their brands, I don't think so market is an issue. And I don't think so affordability is also an issue. It's just that the person doesn't understand that why should I invest in 4 pair of shoes. And I'll give you a third big example. Globally, the amount of time spent in the, I don't know how to put it, amount of time where people keep a mobile phone with them is around 24 months before they change to a new handset. In India, in metros, is 14 months. And in tier 1, it is 17 months. And in tier 2, it is around 20 months. And a phone is a big part of his annual salary. So in fact, I was having a discussion with a very, very large brand in the country called Provoke. And their CEO is a person who's from Europe, a guy called Tim Manon. And he was telling me that people don't have 50,000 rupees to spend on their fashion, on their whole entire budget, but they spend it on phone every year. So I don't think so it's a budgetary issue. It's just that people don't realize. And I personally hope that a lot of brands go from here and actually tell them that what's the advantage of great fashion. And it will explode. And it seems, online seems to be the way it will grow. So my concluding remarks would be that I personally see a great opportunity in this new medium of technology. I personally think that the countries will not get, the fashion will not get connected by putting them in the stores. They'll get connected through digital highway rather than the road highway. I personally think that you should strongly think about how would you use mobility to reach out to Indians, because 500 million people have a mobile phone. I don't think so. I think it's a perception issue that people are behind. It's an education issue. If educated, they'll respond very well, and it's a very, very large market. Thank you.